She went radio podcast. She said, "All right, sit there. They'll be up."
Yeah, she did it.
She's as sharp as that.
Yeah.
But she's not contacting nobody. So what we're going to do is we'll put you further in.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like at the second mic, and then Tom will sit here. So I'm going to be around here on and off camera purely because...
You're going to be on camera. I've just got to make a call at 7:30. But...
Oh, really?
No, we'll see how we go. I might be able to do a text under the table.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be looking... The camera's going to be all on you.
Oh, is it?
I've got to do a little intro, so it might take up the way I go on. For
What,
10
5 minutes?
I mean, if you got to have the call at 7:30, I'd rather start at 7:35.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll see how we go. Yeah?
Yeah. It's, I'm assuming it's all business related.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was the journey down?
Yeah, so I was just on the tube and stuff, you know.
Anybody affected by these rebel people?
What rebel people?
You know, these extension rebels that are doing all these protests.
I haven't seen none of it, to be
You
fair.
know what? Yeah, so they closed Waterloo Bridge
Yeah.
and Westminster Bridge, like
Really?
all their actions. Yeah, man. Like, there's. When I say they're serious, like they're really.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready here. He's taken another one and another, and Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow, that is going to be controversial.
And they're crunching right now, and that must finish it. It must finish it.
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab, eats the right hand, another right hand, and he goes down. Oh my goodness!
The dream is made real. Ricky Hatton rocks the world with a truly stunning win over a modern legend. He is the champion of the world.
Yes, people. Back again, live and exclusive from our headquarters in London with another jam-packed show covering the best news in boxing. This week, a special guest, bit of a rare entity having someone of his caliber, his experience, and also management. Some of the hottest prospects, nurturing talent from the domestic right to the world stage. IBF world titleist Richard Commey, Michael Amoo.
Thank you.
We're here.
Thank you.
Senior.
Thank you.
Live and direct. Senior.
Got to put that on there. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourselves?
Yeah, not
Good,
bad,
thank
not
you.
bad. Thank you for
Great
coming.
to be here.
Yeah, so we've got, guys, it's a packed show today. I think we're going to discuss the fallout of the fight last weekend, which was Triple G versus Derevyanchenko. Also, we saw the MTK show, which was the Golden Contract, which Tom went down there. Good event.
Yep.
And I guess really just all other boxing news throughout the week. But Tom, do you want to give the guys a number if they're going to call in today?
Yeah, make sure you call in whether you're calling from the UK, the US, +44 150 635 3955. That's again +44 150 635 3955, and make sure you tune in at Raps on TV and all social media handles. So yeah, I mean, get underway.
Yeah.
From the weekend, I suppose there's only one place to
start.
just to quickly go over a few of the recent boxing events that have happened.
Was it a robbery?
I don't know.
I don't think it's a robbery. It's a very close fight.
Yeah.
It's a very close fight, but I don't think it was a robbery. You know, you get these hometown decisions.
Yeah.
And, watching the fight, Derevyanchenko done really, really well. Obviously, he's trained by Richard Commey's trainer, Andre Rosier.
A bit closer.
So, we've got a special affinity there. But, watching the fight, I did think that, it was close. I thought it could have been a draw.
Yeah.
I think Derevyanchenko was doing a lot of the work, a lot of the pressing, but a lot of the cleaner punches came from Golovkin.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're used to Golovkin seeing him overpower his opponents and being crisp and clinical.
Yeah.
So when you see him fighting like this,
like
he did on Saturday, then everyone starts, oh my God, he's finished, it's over.
Yeah.
You're more looking at the opponent, saying the opponent's done this and the opponent's done that.
Yeah.
Because we've been spoilt with, the performances from Golovkin. So when you see a slight drop in performance, then, there's a big cloud over, whether he's finished, whether the guy beat him and so forth and so forth.
Yeah.
But fighters have this now and again. It happens, You can't expect a fighter to be like a robot and go in there every time and do the same thing over and over again.
No, agreed. Agreed.
I think as well with the reputation that Golovkin has for producing barbaric knockouts each time, I think there's only a matter of time before the wider boxing world are going to get to him about looking lethargic, looking a bit sluggish, especially when that third fight with Canelo is there, and you'd expect him to grasp that by putting on a good display. And I just think he got the win, which was the most important thing. But I think you have to applaud Derevyanchenko for his performance.
And obviously his trainer, because it's the third time his trainer's come up against
that as well.
Against Golovkin. So, he knows him, he knows his style. I know he's got a new trainer in Banks, but you start to read a fighter and what he's going to do, and then you can give your fighter a game plan as to how you think you can beat him. And I think the game plan worked. I mean, I do think that the cut in the first round really didn't help.
And the knockdown.
And the knockdown, albeit a flash knockdown, but there was a knockdown all as well, and I don't think that helped. But in saying that, it was a very, very close fight. And me personally, with everybody saying, the rumours saying that Golovkin was ill before the fight and such, if that's the case, then there has to be a rematch to see if we get the real Golovkin, or if that was the real Golovkin and Derevyanchenko gave him a hard fight. I think I'm not sure where Golovkin goes off the back of that performance, because, Canelo's doing his thing. He's got Kovalev, which is not an easy fight. And we don't know how much he's going to take out of Canelo that fight. And then we'll have to see where Golovkin goes, because obviously he's got this major contract with DAZN. But on that performance, they're going to have to do something to kind of gain more interest, obviously. And I personally, I think the only way he can do that is by putting Derevyanchenko back in there again and saying, look, obviously I think it's the same scenario as Floyd and Madonna. When Floyd fought Madonna the first time, everyone was, we need to beat him, this and that. So Floyd went, okay, let's do it again, and then I'll show the people, properly. And that's what happened. And his product and his thing could still go on, and I think for me personally, I don't see anyone else in the division that they can kind of put with Golovkin to get the monkey off his back, which was on Saturday. I think Derevyanchenko deserves that for the performance he put in.
Exactly. It was a quality performance. I think you look at, you spoke about the knockdown in the first round, the cut, which was a big cut to the corner. The Stitch guys, they did fantastic. Just to keep him going through it. Every round, and the New York Commission are quite tough, so every round they were checking his eyes, socket, the cut, the bleeds, and they done well to not wave it off either. They could have easily done that. But I just felt, it's going back to what you're saying with Triple G, I just think he could probably do it in a rematch, but there was something up with him, because he just looks so different to what we've seen in the past. And I know some of the opponents haven't been the same amount of quality. I think Derevyanchenko, because of the Jacobs loss, I think people just kind of push him to the side. But actually, he's an Olympian. You saw the skill set that he displayed. And I think from a thinking man's perspective, I think he outfought Triple G, in my opinion. But I just felt in the later rounds where he fell down, and why I said it wasn't a robbery was because I think the cut probably impacted him. The high work rate he had to employ throughout that fight probably just got the better of him with the knockdown and the cut. But I think he gave like you said, an admirable performance. Would we get to the rematch? I don't know if we would get a rematch, if I'm being honest.
I don't know, but I mean, the one thing with Derevyanchenko, what you saw is that he just lacked that power just to push Golovkin back. That one, although he caught him with some lovely body shots, if he had that power, those body shots would have dropped him. And he just lacked that power. And you could see there was a slight physical difference between Golovkin looked a little bit bigger, and you just thought that at any one time Golovkin can really put it on him and hurt him and put him down, but obviously that didn't happen. But you just couldn't see Derevyanchenko doing the same to Golovkin. So in that sense, it was always going to be an uphill battle for Derevyanchenko. But like I said, he was admirable in his performance and corner's performance. I think the Tyson Fury cut of a few weeks ago, impacted on the decision, because the Fury cut was a lot worse than this cut, and that was there was a lot of hoo-ha about that cut. And I think if this fight was to have been stopped on that cut, there would have been, hang on a minute,
consistency.
Exactly. So I think that impacted them to keep looking at the cut, keep it going, and let everyone do their job, which was a great thing, because they've done their job really well. The cutsman Mike Brazil, who I know, who's been in Richard's corner, great cutsman, and they've done their job very, very well. So, and it gave us the spectacle of seeing the fight go the whole 12 rounds, which you have to commend everybody involved for that.
And that's exactly my point. I think going the distance was great for Derevyanchenko. I think the only real, as you would expect, is Triple G. And I think even going back to like the power that you spoke of Derevyanchenko, I just think, we've never really seen Triple G wobbled at all. And that's where I just felt it's going to be disheartening because there's nothing he could even take to say that I'm punching this guy, I'm seeing it affect him. All you just saw really was Triple G slow down a bit, maybe not move, but you didn't see any of one of those punches that made him fall back. Do you know what I mean?
The body shots hurt him.
Yeah.
He winced a couple of times with the body shots. They hurt him. So you're going to think whoever fights him next, that's where they're going to look to try and get an advantage over Golovkin. Because you could see visibly that the body shots were hurting him. And when he was catching him correctly, he was taking a step or two back. So if you get someone a harder puncher with a bit more power, that's where they're going to look to slow Golovkin down. Aligned with his age as well. Each fight is taking that little bit more out of him at the age of 37 or 38, 37, I think. Time catches up with you very quickly. All of a sudden, it catches up with you.
I think a lot of it is to do with his mental strength as well. How much does these back-to-back training camps up in Big Bear take out of him as a fighter? And I think with Derevyanchenko putting up such a valiant performance, it kind of makes him question, well, he's had different styles. He's had Jacobs, who's kind of boxing at the outside. He's had Derevyanchenko, who produces lovely inside work. So how much does he take from that in terms of, can he rate his own performance well? Or does he look at the Canelo fight, pushing it further away now that he's had these kind of mediocre performances? Because you see Derevyanchenko like going straight to the body. That would have given a lot of middleweights confidence that in past fights that they had, why they didn't go to the body quick enough. They were trying to, I think, negate Golovkin's bullish tactics coming forward and trying to kind of wrap him up a little bit, whereas kind of sticking to what they knew and using their IQ and moving around the ring. So I think that's why, if you look at a Billy Joe Saunders who can move, although he's not got the best inside work in terms of to the body, he's able to ping you from range and kind of keep you away. And I think, and Derevyanchenko probably set the blueprint in terms of size, being able to really...
I think that's a good point you make in terms of the size as well, and sort of like that blueprint. And I guess a question I would have asked, do you think we kind of saw that night why Triple G wasn't so keen to move up a division? Because when he was struggling to get the Canelo fight, a question I would always ask is, why doesn't he just move up? Like, forget Canelo, unify, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the greats, don't just stick in one division, go up. Do you think maybe we saw a little bit of why he's not moved up against 168-pounder, naturally big, naturally strong?
Well, that's his natural weight. He's a natural 160.
Yeah.
He doesn't, he's been fighting at that weight for a long time, and that's his natural weight. So, I mean, if you look at some of the greats, Marvin Hagler, he never moved up.
That was the only guy.
And there are plenty of fights for him in the 160 division. You want to be the undisputed, you want to be the best in your own division, not necessarily have to move up and down. Marketing wise and promotional wise, for someone like Canelo, who's looking for marquee opponents wherever they are because of this massive deal that he's got, he can't stay in one division. He just can't, because there's not enough fighters in that division. I mean, he fluctuates from 154 to now he's going to 175. I mean, that's freakish.
He fought Floyd at 152.
He fought Floyd at 152. I mean, that's freakish, but that's the pattern they've got from. And long term, you don't know what damage that does to your body, because obviously you're going through the weights up and down, and you're meeting naturally bigger guys, which we're going to see in Kovalev. He's a naturally bigger guy. We're going to see what it takes out of him.
Why do you think Golovkin's power is kind of declining? Do you think it's just the weight? He's not able to make it as healthily as what he was?
Well, your power is the last thing to go. Your speed is always the first thing to go, and your power is the last thing to go. I'm not quite sure whether his power has declined. I think you have to give credit to Derevyanchenko and his team for sussing out the way Golovkin was going to fight. If you looked, a lot of those looping punches that he threw, they negated by coming inside, coming underneath, and just manoeuvring Golovkin out of the way so he couldn't throw those punches that he normally throws from distance. If you watch a lot of his fights, a lot of his hooks, they come from distance and they catch you at the end of the punch. If you get inside to Golovkin, he can't throw those punches, and that's what Derevyanchenko done. And it took all the power and the mobility out of Golovkin, and then he struggled on the inside. I mean, he got through with a few nice little uppercuts, but in the main, he struggled on the inside to penetrate.
Yeah, and he's probably was forced to box on the inside, because I think Derevyanchenko, when he came quite a high guard. He was trying to really stop Golovkin from winging those
exactly.
punches.
It was a fast pace. He was right on Golovkin's chest.
Yep.
Golovkin couldn't get the movement to do those punches, and then it kind of stopped him from fighting the fight that he wanted to fight. So I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't be rushing in to say that his power's declined, because the next person who comes in, he might knock him clean out.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great strategy by some like Andre Rozier, who has been in. This is his third battle with Golovkin. Obviously, he's learning. He's looking and seeing how the best way we can negate and take away Golovkin's power. And I think they were successful at it.
Yeah, and on that point, he spoke about Andre Rozier, and I think he done a great job to the team as well with the cut. But let's move on to one of your fighters, IBF world champion Richard Commey, always flying the flag.
Another man with a fearsome knockout ratio.
Exactly, high knockout ratio. He's scheduled to fight in December. I know it's half unofficial, but the rumours are to be believed.
It's official.
It's official, right? Yeah.
December the 14th.
December the 14th. Teofimo Lopez. Yeah. Just talk to us about, for you, how eager you were to get that fight made, and Commey, how, in terms of maybe looking forward to that fight, in terms of an opponent.
Well, when this all started, we obviously we had the Richard was the mandatory after he beat Alessandro Luna. Richard was the mandatory for the IBF world title, and a couple of fights fell away. We were supposed to go to Russia, which we didn't really want to go, and it was kind of a false promotion that that didn't happen. And then we ended up fighting. We ended up renegotiating, and Top Rank came in with a deal for Richard, because basically they had two of the belts. I think they had the WBO and the WBA belt with Lomachenko.
Yep.
No, sorry, Lomachenko had one and Pedraza had the other one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they looked at it long term. They wanted to make. It's obvious that they wanted to make Lomachenko the undisputed lightweight champion.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, they obviously had to tie in Richard, which was great for us, because then it gives Richard the opportunity to fight for all four belts when that arises. It didn't work out the way Top Rank wanted it to work out, because obviously when Richard won the world title, he got injured. So Lomachenko was forced to face his mandatory, which was Anthony Corella, and Richard had to go back to Ghana and recover and stuff. And then it was a matter of, right, well, we start again. But for us, it was really important that Richard had a marquee fight to defend his title in a voluntary. And we had a choice of a number of people, and we decided that Ray Beltran was the perfect fight for Richard to get, being an African, being a Ghanaian fighting, it's very difficult to get credibility.
Yep,
they don't, you see all these other lightweights who haven't achieved half of what Richard's achieved, and they get spoken about as if, they're
Lopez is a perfect example.
Yeah, they're world champions and they've already done it.
Yeah.
So in terms of Richard, it was important to get a credible opponent for Richard, which was Ray Beltran, who was a former world champion and hadn't been stopped in 11 years. Went the distance with Terence Crawford, who's considered one of the pound for pound best. And we was very confident Richard would win that fight. And for us, the fight, it turned out better for us than expected, because Richard got good 8 rounds in. Good 8 rounds in with a world-class operator. I remember him coming here to Scotland and giving Ricky Burns hell, and he's been avoided himself. So, it was a really good opportunity for us to get Richard's name out there, which he won. And now, with Lomachenko having all 3 belts, we could have gone straight for Lomachenko, but Teofimo decided that, or their team decided that they think that Richard was the easier route, as opposed to taking the WBC tournament with Devin Haney and Abdullah and another one inside. So we just had to wait for that. And to be fair, it's been perfect for us, because Richard has had a nice break. He knows what's in front of him. And we're really looking forward. The whole team is really looking forward to facing Teofimo.
I think as well, when you look at the division, it's quite rare. It's red hot at the moment. You probably haven't seen the lightweights so highly contested with, like you said there, Devin Haney, who's got his own ambitions with DAZN. You got obviously Teofimo Lopez. I want to ask you about obviously navigating yourself to the Lomachenko fight. Did Richard have to take the Teofimo Lopez fight to really project himself?
When Teofimo when he went the IBF route, the top rank manufactured the IBF final eliminator for Teofimo, which Richard's mandatory is Teofimo. Or it was Teofimo versus Nakatani for the mandatory position. Obviously Teofimo won, so it was always going to be Richard fighting his mandatory because top rank. Ideally, they want to see Teofimo and Lomachenko fight. Richard is the stumbling block for everybody, and he's always been that stumbling block because he's been that stumbling block for years. Yes. Everybody has wanted to get Richard out of the way, because he's a danger to everybody's plans, and he's always been that stumbling block. So, it's we're there now, and there's nothing really anybody can do. They have to go through Richard because he is the IBF champion.
I think it kind of brings a lot more dangers when you are an avoided fighter and you really do have to prove yourself. Although now he has won the world title, he has got arguably a lot to say in that division, even though Lomachenko has all the belts, the majority of the belts. But at the end of the day, to be the undisputed, to really hold your claim as the best, you've got to get through the piece of the puzzle. So. Yeah,
exactly. And Richard's really looking forward to it. He's training hard, like as he always does. So I don't even know why I said that. And he's really looking forward to showing the world and a fantastic platform live on ESPN December the 14th at Madison Square Garden, which is it's a fantastic achievement for the team to get there. Richard's really looking forward to performing that night.
Yeah, and there was a public workout, I believe, last week for Richard. Was there a public workout in the States?
No. I think Richard was.
He was at the.
He was at the gym, wasn't he?
He was at the Gubba Awards last week. He was at the Gubba Awards, which was celebrating Ghanaians in America, their achievements. And Richard was a special guest at that awards, where the Ghanaian president, was also in attendance. And he was at the Golovkin fight this weekend, as it goes.
So a lot of love from the
he was sitting next to Wayne Rooney through the fight.
I saw that.
So they was talking, they was chatting about all things boxing, and then he was. I saw pictures of him with Wesley Snipes as well. So he's getting about the boy.
Exactly. That's what you want. And obviously Richard Commey is kind of like the flagship fighter within the stable. But we had a couple of the other guys in a few weeks ago, Ryan.
Rames with his win.
And then Rames obviously got a win. So just talk to us obviously about Rames' great win for him a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
Now Ryan's moving on, so it really is got like strength on to strength.
Yeah, Rames, firstly, in terms of the local the guys here in the UK, I have to thank Steve Goodwin, who's a very good friend of mine, and his family, for always allowing me the opportunity for my fighters to be on his shows and helping me in terms of navigating them to where they are today. If it wasn't for Steve Goodwin, even Richard, for instance, he gave Richard his first opportunity here, and so I have to always give thanks to Steve and his family. The boys, Rames, he had a great victory in 2 weeks ago for his Southern Area Super Bantamweight featherweight title. It was a great fight. The two boys left everything in there. It was nip and tuck all the way, and Rames, to our great pleasure, came through at the end. I think on the judges' scorecard, I think he won it by 3 or 4 rounds. Yeah. We thought it was a little bit closer, but it's been a magical journey for him because, if you've met him, and he's a maths teacher, so he doesn't look, speak, have any of the qualities of a boxer, so, and then you see him, he trains diligently, he trains hard, he puts everything into his training, he's obsessed with it, and just to see such a lovely kid, be victorious on a night like that in front of his family, who've always supported him. His mum and dad always come to his fights, his father's friends and some of his friends from school and stuff come, and it's just great to see. From any level, whether you've got a world champion or you've got a Southern Area champion, the feeling is still the same. Yeah. It takes hard work, it takes dedication, it takes a bit of luck, and it takes a togetherness to get to that level, and once you achieve it, there's no greater feeling.
Yeah, it looked like that in abundance. I mean, you talk about moments after getting the nod from the judges, just the sheer adulation in the ring. Like, it looked as if you were reliving that world title, that world title moment.
When you take a kid from nothing and you take him to any title, I mean, the joy is, it's hard to hold it in because, you not that you doubt yourself sometimes, but you know how hard this game is. You know how difficult it is, and any victory for any title should be cherished. You know what I mean? Should never be looked at as if it's just a southern area or it's just this or it's just that. It's I get great pleasure from seeing these kids. You know what I mean? Work hard, train hard, and get their just rewards. Doesn't always happen. We've had losses before, and I mean it's sometimes very difficult to take. But at the same time, when you do get the victory, you have to cherish it.
Yeah, no, Ryan's fight on the undercard was a bit of a strange one, but he got the win. Obviously,
he got the win. I mean, the guy got hit and then he got dislocated his elbow, I think, and the fight was over within a round, which was disappointing because we always liked the boys to get the rounds out, because when they train so hard over a 8 to 12 week period, you want to see them get all that out. So it's a bit disappointing, but we've moved on. We've got a fight with. At Super Bantam for the Southern Area title for Ryan on a Goodwin show on November the 30th against Pitor Murga, I think his name is. Which, to be quite honest, I wanted Ryan to stay at bantamweight, but Ryan and his trainer, my son Michael Jr., we had a team discussion and we thought this was an opportunity that we could not take. So, it's going to be another emotional night for us, on November the 30th at York Hall, and we're hoping that Ryan can bring another Southern Area title to the family.
Yeah, I suppose to be brutally honest, like these fighters are still learning, like the experience, the nitty gritty of the York Hall. Do you think, especially in Ryan's case and also like Ramez, when the opportunity like this really does arise, probably, we wouldn't say not necessarily having the adequate preparation, but just when it springs up, do you think it's just a case of he's got to take it? And
not necessarily, because we've done it last time against Michael Rambalazza for Ryan, and in hindsight, it was a step too quick, too soon for Ryan, and we can all say in hindsight, but that's for me as a manager, you have to take responsibility in terms of, sometimes, you have to rein these fighters in and tell them, let's just slow down, you're not ready yet, So, we all learnt lessons from that, myself included. So, but in saying that, when the opportunity comes, you have to look at it as an individual thing and see whether, your team can pull it off, and then you make a team decision and you go from there. And once you say yes, you go full throttle. You do all the hard work and whatever's needed to be done, and then you're proud the night that it happens for you, And
your son, Mickey Amoo Jr., has been instrumental to that success.
Yeah, I mean, he's, I keep saying to him, unfortunately, his boxing career got cut short. He was a very, very good amateur, and he went for his professional license and they found a cyst on the brain, which was devastating for him and for myself as well. And it took him some time, to get over that. When you've got your dreams of being a professional boxer and they're just taken away from you like that, I can't imagine what was going through his head at the time when we tried everything we could, but it just didn't happen for him. And but he's got this way with him in terms of training that I've been around a lot of trainers, a lot of good trainers, and I'm not just saying it because he's my son. I'm saying it because of what I see, and I'll be brutally honest, I think he can go on to be a very, very good top trainer given the opportunities, because he knows how to bring out the best in fighters. He knows he's just got this way with making them feel like they're walking on cloud nine, and he's very astute, he's well educated in terms of boxing. He's not one of these hype people that believes the hype. He's got his own mind. Me and him constantly have, arguments and discussions about what we think and this and that. And he's very, very astute in what he knows. And I think he can, given the opportunity, and he's getting the opportunity with these fighters. I don't think, as good as Ramesh trains and stuff, I think Michael done a fantastic job getting him mentally right, mentally prepared for the fight. That he won the Southern Area title. And he's doing a great job with Jordan and Ryan as well. And, I just hope that he gets more opportunities to train more fighters so that he can grow as a trainer in the sport.
Yeah, I think with success, I mean, you probably have to look at the repetition within camp. The like you said there, the focusing on the fine attention to detail with the pads and also the other work. Really making sure that these fighters are fine-tuned, that when they do come up against different styles, they're able to adapt. Yeah. Do you think that kind of is echoed with Michael's?
Yeah, I mean, he looks at... He's a stylist. He looks at styles. He looks at, he doesn't just throw you in there and say, right, you've got to do this, you just got to go forward, you got to punch. He looks at, all kinds of aspects of fighting, and he tries to bring that to the fighters and get them to understand that, although they have to do the hard work, they have to understand that there's different styles. With each fight that you take, there are different things that you have to do depending on the style of the opponent, and you have to be able to adapt in the ring at any one given time. So he implements that in his training. Anything can happen at any one time. So therefore, you have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to maneuver in a certain way. You have to have knowledge about what is going on at any one given time in that ring so that you can adapt. All the greatest fighters, if they come unstuck in the ring, they was able to adapt. They was able to change what they was doing in order to be successful. And Michael knows that, and he's always, pushing the boys, saying to them, look, you've got to be able to do this. You've got to be able to fight that way. You've got to be able to, if you need to take a breather, take a breather. Don't worry about taking a backward step. It doesn't mean that you're bringing someone. It means that you're in control of what you're doing, and he gets that message across really well with the boys.
And with that, that research and really just like as a young man, really trying to put himself out there with profile and stuff like that. Do you see him like when he's mixing it in different gyms with the sparring, kind of taking little pointers from other coaches that are around, the more senior coaches out there?
Yeah, I mean, how much can you learn as a coach? There are senior coaches and there are coaches that come in with new ideas, so how much do you take from them and how much do you want to implement your own ideas? You watch other fighters and your other trainers and you may feel that way is old hat, that way has been done before. This is me, this is now. We've seen as some good young trainers, Ben Davison, Shane McGuigan, they've come in and you can see that they've got their own style. You could see that, yes, they've probably picked up things from other people, but you could see they've got their own style and they're implementing what they think is going to get their fighter the victory, which is a good thing to see. When you get young, fresh trainers in, the game's constantly moving and constantly going forward, and you need that refreshing look at things, and I think it's great to have those young boxers. It doesn't, we get this cliche, we see these, especially in films, you see the trainer's always a 50, 60, 70-year-old guy, barking down orders. Why can't he be a 25-year-old something, telling a boxer, no, you got to move like this, you got to do that, it's boxing and there's different ways of doing it,
And that's a fair point, and I think, well, number one, it's a results business as well. But at the same time, it's about, if you look at most sports, it's about evolving. So if you look at football, back in the days, everything was your manager needs to be an old school, gone through a career, took his time, studied. But actually, you look at the Peps of the world, the Pochettinos, even Emery, I know he doesn't look it, but there's others, your Eddie Howe. They're young coaches, they understand their craft, they've got a different mindset, and they've just been given, like you said earlier, the opportunity to express themselves. And I think that's the key thing, Michael.
Yeah.
Keeping the fighters happy as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, fresh ideas get a lot out of fighters because they're able to then take responsibility, give back to the trainer, regardless of having a good relationship outside of the ring. There's that level of understanding between the two.
Yeah, and you need, when they're not so much of a similar age, but when there isn't such an age gap, because the world moves so fast now, it's social media. If you don't understand those aspects of it, you can't then have the conversation with your trainer in certain aspects of boxing, and then it kind of falls, well, I can't really speak to him because he really won't know, so I'll go and find someone else to speak to. But the guys, I see Michael and the guys, they're talking, they're on their Instagrams and this, and they're posting stuff up, and you can see it brings them together. There's an understanding of what needs to be done to promote themselves, to promote what they're doing, but to then click together and be organised together, And I think that really, really helps because it moves so fast now that if you're not with the times, you get left behind very quickly.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I think, and I think even Michael like showed it in when he came in the studio. He's got such a good head on
Yeah.
such a an experienced head on young shoulders
Yeah.
that he's probably going to expect that pressure to come now. If you got like Ramez is moving up the
Yeah.
domestic ladder,
Yeah.
and I think as a trainer having that temperament, being able to really, like I said, get the best out of the fighter and just that understanding will get them a long way. And
Yeah,
propel
yeah,
them on.
yeah, and you have to know your fighter's limitations as well. You know, you can't just think, oh, I've got a champion, so I'm going to throw him in here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You have to know your fighter's limitations, and then you have to work with that.
Honesty, yeah. So we're gonna get guys that are on the line. I can see there's a couple of callers. We're gonna open the call after this next chat. So give it about 5-6 minutes. We're gonna open the line. Just a question to the group. Obviously we spoke about the Triple G. I want to go into detail on the MTK, but actually something that's kind of come up this week, and it's been a weird one. I think boxing is really on the rise, and I'm going to say this because not only did we have a KSI Logan press conference, which seemed unreal in terms of the people that their numbers they're generating, like people that were part of it.
Yeah.
You had Tyson Fury in WWE this week.
A new audition for the
Twice.
roster for the WWE.
And I'm just
roster.
like, what? You know what? There's a part of me that's like, what's going on? But actually, you know, if we're going to look at it holistically at a big picture, actually, if boxing goes into the casual market, it is good because that's going to bring more money to the scene. I know we're not going to get professionals, experts, but really we want eyeballs. Not everyone that watches football understands football. The Rugby World Cup is on now. I've watched 1 or 2 games. I don't understand rugby for toffee. So I think we need a little bit of that if we want boxing to sustain, because I think we've got such a good caliber of fighters portfolio. Yep. I think actually somebody like, not even just a Billy Joe Saunders, but like there could be real fighters that could win new fans just by this sort of, I don't know if you call it merger, but by this,
It showed.
I can see. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are this: look, there are different aspects of the boxing business.
Yeah.
A promoter wants to promote to make money. Yeah. Then you've got right at the other end of the scale, you've got boxers who are struggling to get on shows. You know what I mean? Who are grinding out tickets and doing that kind of stuff to just get some kind of recognition. You know, and for me personally, the way I see it is that, look, as long as what we're doing doesn't tarnish the sport. People keep saying we need eyes, we need this, we need that, but boxing is thriving at the minute. It's thriving at the minute. Look at the shows. Look at the pay-per-view numbers in America. Look at the shows, the pay-per-view numbers here. It's thriving at the minute. Now, are we going to turn it into a circus, the sport? You know, are we going to turn it into a circus?
Think it will, but I hear you.
Yeah? You know, because once you start going down that road, then other people are going to take it on board that they can put on any kind of show and throw some fighters on there and whatever just to sell. You know, but I come from the ilk of, there are a lot of fighters out there who are grinding, working hard to get the opportunity. You've got these 2 YouTubers that, great, fantastic what they do, fantastic. But now they're coming to make money off our sport. You know, they're coming to make money off our sport. And how much of that money is going to go back into the grassroots of the sport? You know?
That's a good point. And I will say though, and I know Tom, in fact, Tom, I'll let you go and then I'll just...
No, because I was just going to say, like, that boxing purity is always been neglected. I think with the I'm not saying anything as against 2 YouTubers, because they're doing it the right way. They're not doing it like over an amateur bout. They're doing it the conventional way, pro license, pro training, etc. And they're being advised by pro coaches. But I think when you look at, like Michael said, you look at guys, there's hundreds of them, people that we haven't even seen on small hall shows that are really trying to grind it out and build their profile. Okay, this is the way the world works. It's been accelerated so much that we've got Bob Arum who's trying to publicise Fury on that scale, which is understandable. That's getting him out to the masses in the US, and you know, like even with the KSI Logan Paul, like people are intrigued by it, but does it neglect that purity? Yes. Are we going to appreciate it as much as what we make out it to be? Is it going to deliver? Is it going to be worthy of being on a standalone pay-per-view main event? But we just have to, I suppose,
but that's the thing. So,
it.
like, they announced the pay-per-view. Sky signed up for it, right? I think it's either 15 or 10 pounds. One of the two, right?
Yeah.
I would say the majority of boxing fans that watch the Spence Jr. Porter fight, the Triple G fight, whether they watched it live or they watched it in the next morning, will not pay for that. So that's why I'm not too upset, because I just think they're literally attracting a market that is totally... So I went on YouTube and there was about 23,000 people watching that live, the presser. And I can tell you, even the Mayweather one, the Joshua ones, there's not been that many numbers. So I just think they've got a totally different audience that probably don't even understand boxing and not usually into it. And I think this may help.
But how much of that audience would think will tune in next time to a proper fight?
I think it'll be minimal as well. I think a percentage.
And do the people doing it really care? Because it's a numbers thing for them today. You know, if it doesn't work, or they say that we didn't get the bleed into the next fight, they're gonna say okay. But at the end of the day, they're still making a chunk of money off what they're setting out to do anyway.
And I think that's
you
what.
know?
I mean, I don't want to get into it because that's a topic. I think that's the reason DAZN have got into it, because I think they need to recoup some money somehow, and this is low-hanging fruit in my opinion. I'll let you go, and then I'll say what your point, and then we'll go to the calls.
No, I mean, that's just it. I mean, at the end of the day, how many, you know, you're saying 23,000 people watched it, but how many of them are boxing fans, you know? And you're going to get, how many are you going to get to tune into any other fights? There's so many fights out there. There's so many boxing fights out there. Do they even know of the different outlets of boxing? Do they know Top Rank? Do they know PBC? Do they know Matchroom? Do they know weight classes? You know what I mean?
I think they don't.
They don't, you know what I mean? And if you're doing this show and you're getting this audience, this massive audience that you say you're going to get, how much time and effort are you going to educate those new people? Because if you don't educate them about the sport and what it's about, you're going to lose them.
And on a similar note, it's about educating the people on certain things that have probably gone under the radar a bit with the whole, you know, like substance manipulation, how that tarnishes the sport. And I think too much emphasis has gone on the KSI Logan Paul thing, as opposed to the recent news of Spong failing the drug test. How many more stories is that going to come out to then produce a different rhetoric about? Do we take side of a casual fight to the real, like, because this is a dangerous sport. This is
and I agree with you on the dangerous sport thing, but I think, look, if KSI and Logan Paul do what they're supposed to do, pass all the tests, whatever tests they take, I don't think the drug thing comes into it. I think we're talking about credibility, but I don't think, I really don't think it's that big a deal. And I also think, because like, even when I first fell in love with boxing, I didn't understand boxing. I just liked it. Azuma Nelson, Mike Tyson. So I was fans of them, and then the love grew. And I think we shouldn't underestimate. Maybe I don't know. I can never quantify, but maybe there'll be a small percentage of people that will watch the actual fight
and their knowledge,
pay their money, and then they might say, "I really like this. Let me look for more, or follow this specific fighter and then go." So I'm not totally against it, but I think it's a cash bag. So listen, let's go to the calls. We're gonna go out to 985. I can see it's our I'll say our co-host Daniel, Mr. Appiah. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm very well, thank you, Kojo. Good. How are you? How's the team? All right?
Yeah,
all good, Daniel.
We're good. What's on your mind, bro?
Yeah, Usyk's got a fight on Saturday, hasn't he?
I think it's going to be called off, bro.
Say that again?
It's going to be called off.
No, they're looking for another opponent, aren't they?
Oh, they're looking for another opponent. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, let's just hope that fight's on, because I've been looking forward for a while to see Usyk at heavyweight. Yeah. So let's hope he can get an opponent and get in there and show us what he's all about at heavyweight.
So, a question for you. You heard... I asked this, but I reckon I know the answer. Usyk claims that he wants Wilder. Wilder said Usyk is too small. Would you like to see that fight?
Of course I would. Yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be a real test for both men. Mm-hmm. Who do I think would win? Boy, you know what? Right about now, I'd have to go with Deontay Wilder, to be fair. I think Wilder's grown on me, you know. I think Wilder's a very dangerous man, you know. Yeah. But with that power, you can never write him off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And Daniel, the weekend, Golovkin, I suppose, was in a bit of a war, to say the least, with Derevyanchenko. What was your? Did you manage to catch the fight?
I've only actually seen bits of the fight. Obviously, Golovkin is an aging fighter. Where should he go? Where should he go from here? I'd like to see him in another big fight. Maybe, hopefully, if you get up for it, it may be that maybe he underestimated this guy. How to say his name? The Riot. Maybe he underestimated him, and he wasn't as sharp. Maybe if he's up against, maybe if he's in a big fight, maybe that might sharpen him up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Good.
We'll see.
Anything else on your mind?
Yeah. No, that's about it, really. Just keep doing what you lot are doing. I'm listening to the show tonight. The guest you got there, I didn't catch his name.
Michael Amoo Sr. Richard Commey's manager, Duke Micah, Ramirez Mahmood. Yeah, Streetwise Management.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the conversation you lot are having tonight.
Appreciate that.
Like an intelligent conversation on boxing. Yeah.
We got the library books, Daniel, in the background, so we got a bit of inspiration to work with.
That's it. So I'll let the guys know we are testing our live YouTube, so we're doing a bit of live in this. We are live on YouTube, so for next week we'll be sending a link out. But yeah, for those of you that are on the line, I appreciate it. So Daniel, thank you very much. We're gonna move to the next
nice
caller.
one, lads.
Thanks for the support.
Take care.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Appreciate the support as always. Going out to
no problem.
Going out to 928. 928. The floor is yours. Hello.
Thank you very much. I just want to put out on live radio how proud I am of Mickey Amoo, what he has done.
Perfect.
11 years ago, he went into the gym in Accra, saw somebody and nobody. Fast forward 11 years, that person is a world champion.
Yeah.
And all credit to Mickey Amoo.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Can we get your name?
It's just a fan saying all credit to him. Can I just say one thing? You talked about the KSI fight.
Yes.
Can I say I agree with what Michael said? The problem with these so-called stunts, no matter how much they train, no matter how much they convince the world that they are fit boxers, it is a stunt. And there's so many other boxers who, from the day dot, the only thing they wanted to do was box, not for fame, not for fortune, but to test themselves and to be the best they can. And there's only a certain amount of money in any sport, in any business, and these YouTubers, they're taking the money away. The winner of the fight will go around saying, "Oh, boxing's easy. Now I could easily be the world champion," or boxing is not as difficult as they make it out to be. Yet those who have grafted all their lives, got up at 4 a.m. to run, watch their diet, done everything that their trainers, promoters, managers have asked them to do, they would easily turn around and say, "No, we've sacrificed a lot to get half as far as you, and it's not fair and it's not right that you come along because of your fame and fortune. You take all the money, all the credit, and everything. It's not right."
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a fair point on that one.
Definitely.
Do you feel like a fight of this kind of like this nature has kind of concentrated the market now for these big names, your likes of your Canelos on DAZN, other big names on big platforms? Do you think that's kind of shedded more light on than what it needs to be, or do you think it's something that's expanding the sport?
No, it's not expanding the sport, because I'm old enough to remember sitting up waiting for Muhammad Ali to fight the Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when not Lennox Lewis, where Sugar Ray Leonard was fighting Hearns, was fighting Hagler, when Ben was fighting Eubanks. They didn't have all this gimmicky boxing exhibitions going on, but boxing was exciting. The reason recently boxing heavyweight has become exciting again for one reason only, for a man to be knocked down and get up and still not win, and that's Tyson Fury. I'm not rating him, I'm not saying he's good, bad or indifferent, but that's what's excited people again about the heavyweight division, is the fact that someone took a punch and was able to get up when most of the world thought he would stay down. So these gimmicks are not really helping. There are good boxers out there who can do what needs to be done to bring the sport back into the mainstream in terms of public viewing. And not, as a side, as a side view from pay-per-view TV or whatever. We need boxing back on the free-for-air channels so that actually the boxers who have strived all their lives to just be a good boxer, they can be seen on TV, recognised for what they are, and hopefully fight for titles, be it national or international titles.
Yeah, very fair assessment.
Appreciate that. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate the comments as well. Yeah, it was very, very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, take care. So moving out to 910. 910, I've got a new system. Mr. Sam there, I think.
Yes, it is Mr. Sam there.
How you
Good
doing,
evening, Raps on TV. What's going on,
Evening,
people?
Sam.
How you doing? You well?
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm finally, do you know what? I finally got to listen to the show from the very, very start to the end, and the level of content and conversation has been phenomenal. And the guest you're having, Senior, just props to him, really. Like the story, I've heard about Senior before, but the story is just really, really inspiring. Like my man just said earlier, so big props to him, and you know, like long may the reign continue for him at the top.
Yeah,
but
thank you. Trying.
yeah, let's get down to business. Let's get down to the business. Let's talk.
What's on your
There's
mind?
so much to talk about.
You ain't
Wait,
got
you
all
like
night,
to limit
though.
me down to about 3 minutes. I know, you like to limit me down to 5 minutes. I wish I could be here for an hour.
Man,
But,
we
you know,
can't give you
it is what
12
it is.
rounds,
We
bro.
might probably have to get you in.
There you go. In fact, Tom's just said it. I think after this call, we'll have to schedule to get you in, and we'll start doing that, getting some of the callers in, the regulars as well.
No, of course, definitely. Don't worry. And you see the views spike up as almost as big as the KSI Logan Paul.
That's what we need. Real
That's what we
boxing
need.
people.
Exactly.
Real
Global
boxing
asset.
people.
That's what we need. A global asset.
So, yes.
Let's get to business.
Yeah.
Let's get down to business talk. I feel like there's a few things that I want to discuss, and I'll be very, very quick. One thing that I want to touch on, but I don't want to pay too much attention on. Let's just nip this in the bud about the KSI Logan Paul. I respect the casual boxing fans' opinion, and I also understand the serious technical boxers and the fans of the sport who's been, you know, serving the sport for a long time and seeing and respecting fighters. I understand all these different perspectives. If you speak to every different type of boxing fan, whether you're casual, serious, they've all got a different perspective on it. But if you strip back all the kind of, you know, egos and that sort of thing, and I'm talking, boxing fans have egos because we're proud to discover and look at the stats of our fighters. And to see someone like a YouTuber just get a license like that, like my man said, when people are running at 4 a.m. and doing all the graft, it's a bit disrespectful. But on the other hand, you've got to see it as technology saying, like my man said, he waited up to see Rumble in the Jungle, yeah? He waited up ages to see that, but now we've got a technological platform that is able to access so many different casual fans and open boxing to be such a streamlined and well-respected sport. Already it is, but, you know, we want to get it to the level of people are just talking about boxing so fluidly and so naturally and so calmly. Like you said, Kojo, that you were, you know, the Mike Tyson got you into boxing and, you know, you explored yourself and found yourself through that. That's exactly the same thing, but it's just on a different platform. And I feel that people need to start embracing change, although what they're doing is wrong, and, you know, because they're not actual traditional boxers. But look, they don't need the money, the numbers. They need it to start up. We can't do anything about that. We just need to make good of the situation. Look at the guys who are going to be on the undercard. Devin Haney, all the guys coming up in the future. We need to focus our attention on that, look at the entertainment and look at the gimmicks and just move forward and move on. And I get that there might be a spiral, but you kind of got to roll with the punches. I don't think many YouTube boxing series will happen. I do feel there'll be spin-offs, but I don't think they'll be taking over and being main events of professional sanctioned boxing shows. I think this is just a one-off, and people just need to just accept it for what it is. But that's what I've got to say on it. But talk to me, guys.
But don't you think that the two fighters that you've mentioned on the undercard, Billy Joe Saunders and Devin Haney, they've got massive contracts already. They've got big contracts already, big promoters already. Don't you think this is an opportunity for those? If you're going to do this kind of thing and you're going to put it back put something back into boxing, don't you think some of these lesser known fighters should be on the undercard? Like you said, technology is taking over, it's moving things forward. So some of these guys who are not seen, who are not visible, but are good, hard-working professionals who are working their way up, as opposed to your Billy Joe Saunders and your Devin Haney's, who are already there.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, who are already there. What about these other guys who are 10-0, 12-0, 15-0, want to fight for British titles, Southern Area titles, Commonwealth titles? If there is that much money to be made and that much money in the pot, don't you think that some of these guys should be given a kick, a push into that platform?
100%.
It's a great opportunity for those lesser-known fighters to be seen, because that's how you nurture, that's how you build up, that's how you invest in fighters. Yeah. It's a great opportunity when you're going to get millions of these people watching this fight. Billy Joe Saunders and Devin Haney don't need the exposure. They've already got it. They've already got major contracts. Devin Haney's got a major contract with the Zone. Billy Joe Saunders is just signed with Matchroom. They don't need it. But there are some kids out there that are grafting, and they're not going to be... This is a great opportunity. And if they was to do that, then at least you could turn around and say, okay, they're putting something back into the grassroots. They're putting something back into the bottom tier of boxing. But they're not, you know? They're using it to hype up the guys they've already got, which... When you look at it like that,
but you've also got to understand, though. But Senior, what I want to say though, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
I'm trying to say that, you know, Billy Joe Saunders and the Devin Haney's, you've got to look at things from the promoting standpoint, the Zone standpoint. Yes, they want to give back, but at the same time, when Billy Joe's saying, all right, Ed, I've just signed with you, I've just left Warren for you, what are you going to do? What's different that you're going to offer me that Warren wasn't offering you?
No, yeah.
And I'm on probation with you.
Yeah.
So you better do this. Devin Haney's dad is, from what I've heard through my sources, excuse my language, is a bad motherfucker. I've heard behind the scenes in business, he is shrewd. He is very demanding because he expects his son. Kind of similar to how Chris Eubank Sr. is with Junior.
Yeah.
It's similar. I see so many similarities to them, and I bumped into Devin not too long ago. But he's going to be putting in pressure. Like, what can you do to innovate? Because, you know, PBC have got the money and they're dangling it. What are you going to do? And I'm backing you. So that's where you kind of got the conflict of interest there. I'm sure Matchroom would love to save money, because also it saves money. It's a lot of money to put these blokes on these cards. The Hearns, as much as they like to cut costs, they would love to put all these guys like the Cheesemans and, you know, the other kind of fighters coming out like the Craig Richards. But, you know, because it's a cost-cutting measure, and also they've still got the clout and opportunity to grow their brand, and they've got longevity. But you've got to understand that there's all egos and all these different... he manages over 60 different fighters, and they're pulling him. And I want that to be the case, but sometimes things are just... I think it's one of those ones where, you know, the guys who are lucky enough to be on the card that haven't got the big profiles like the Devin Haney's and the Billy Joe Saunders, they need to be able to take that opportunity, or the guys who haven't or around the card or whatever need to try and take the clout and clout chase as much as possible to build their brand up.
Sam, I'm going to let Senior respond, because we're going to have to move on to a couple other callers, but I'll let him respond.
Yeah, of course.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying 100%. And it's just, my point is that they're making a lot of money off the two guys, the KSI and the Logan, off that. And, you know, no matter what happens, the Devin Haney's and Billy Joe Saunders have got big contracts anyway. They're going to go and fight. Whatever show they're going to fight on, they're going to get their money anyway, you know? And if you're signing up fighters like that, world champions, and the money they're using to promote Devin Haney, they can put on shows for them too themselves. How about the guys that are so far behind them guys that ain't getting that push? You know, you're getting that money anyway. Invest in some of these guys, and maybe in a year or 2 years' time, they will be a Devin Haney or a Billy Joe Saunders, because they've just had that massive exposure, and then it gives it a whole better feel that you've got this thing, you've got this stunt or whatever you want to call it, coming out, but you're using it to promote the kids that are coming through. You know, the investment, the kids that ain't got no massive contracts, the kids who are just breaking through on the British level, on the English level, and you're putting them on, you're getting them massive exposure. So the next time that they fight, they can tap into their Instagrams and their social medias, because they've been on that undercard. And then you can move them on from there, you know. It would, for me personally, it would have looked better that way, because, like I said, Billy Joe and Devin Haney,
definitely, I agree.
So listen, we're going to have to move on, but Sam, appreciate your call as always.
Coach, quickly.
Yes.
Quickly. I know you're going to cut. I know you cut me off, but I get what you're saying. But isn't that what the MTK show's about, though? Isn't that why Sky's investing in the MTK, the Golden Contract Show, to be able to get these fighters the opportunity? Because, the zone's moving over to America. Sky are lacking in numbers because, they're not sure if Joshua's going to win in Saudi. Isn't that what it's for? But that's it.
Yeah, that's another...
All right, listen, Sam, we're going to have to, because we really have to move on to the next one. Appreciate the call. Listen, we'll try and get it in next week. Go onto the Facebook or the YouTube. We've got live chat on both pages. I appreciate your support as always, mate.
Perfect.
Thank you.
041. The call is yours.
Hello? Question or statement? 041.
Hello? Oh, is that a mute? 041. Going once? Going twice? All right, you're just listening in. No worries. Don't forget, guys, you can just call in and listen to the show. It's not a problem either. We're going out to 581.
581. Question or statement?
Good evening, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm all right. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Who is it?
Good. It's Dean Flace from Instagram.
Yes. What's going on, guys?
Good, Dean. You okay?
Right.
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Yeah, good.
What's
on your mind, Dean?
Good. I'll make it quick, obviously, because I know time's running out. But I just wanted to touch on the Tyson Fury appearance on WWE Raw.
Yes.
Now, I've seen a bit of criticism on social media during the day, but I actually thought it was a masterstroke.
Okay.
I mean, you got to remember how many thousands of people was in attendance at the event last night, watched by millions, and I mean millions more in America and across the world. It's a big platform, and I just thought it was a masterstroke by Team Fury to get him on that platform. I don't know what you guys think, to be honest.
Yeah, it's unusual. We never really see a British fighter audition for the new Monday Night SmackDown, do we? Monday Night Raw.
I mean, I don't know what the show was, but I mean, I will say it's not unusual because Mayweather's done it. Ali's done it. Tyson's done it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. I'm sure there's
but
others.
Again, you just mentioned the names that's done it. They're massive names. That's not bad company for Fury to be kept in.
It's fair and it's
true.
true.
Obviously, the WWE it's a bit of a panto, but it's a massive platform.
Tyson Fury is a massive name
It's a big platform.
And you know what?
If he wasn't the most recognisable... Sorry, Dom.
No. I was going to say I was taking a mick, but actually you raised a great point in terms of the whole ESPN and what they're doing for his profile.
Yeah,
so actually, I have to take it back. It makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense if you've got other platforms, other sporting platforms. Then you're going to use them to promote your fighters or your sports people. You're going to use them. I mean, Sky have done it a lot over here in having different sports people cover the different sports that they show, and it's not so much a masterstroke. It's just business strategy. If you've got something that you're investing in, you want as many eyes on it as possible. So you're going to put as many eyes on it as possible. And it's a great feat for Tyson Fury, and Tyson is a character. You cannot argue. You put Tyson anywhere, there's going to be some kind of eyes on him. There's something's going to happen. So why not use?
Yeah, because with his mic skills, he's made for the WWE in that respect.
Yeah,
I thought he was brilliant on it.
Yeah. I mean, as much as it was planned and whatnot, it was still. Yeah, I mean, for the eye to see, it's like that only certain people can do that. Only certain people can pull that off, and Tyson Fury is one of those people.
Yeah, and I mean,
I agree.
Danny, just a question for you. Actually, did you get to see the Triple G fight at all?
I did. I thought he did show his age a bit. I'll be honest. I thought he did show his age, but at the end of the day, touch on what you guys said earlier. I think it's just because we're used to seeing these brutal knockouts. So when he has an offish day, we're on his back. He's getting low. He's slowing down. He's this, that, t'other. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how he is out in his next fight. If it's a similarly sort of sluggish performance by him, then I suppose we can say, well, he's seen better days. He may be just past, maybe just over the hill. But yeah, I wasn't particularly impressed, if I'm honest. But like I said, touching what you guys said earlier, it could just be one of them, just an office performance.
No, appreciate that. And before you let you go, anything else?
I did have him winning.
Okay. Anything else on your minds?
So just touching on Chisora Price.
Yeah,
what do you guys? I mean, I thought Price was probably the obvious choice, and then again, I speak to people on social media throughout the day, and a lot of people's got Chisora winning it. I'm not so sure. I think Price with that jab could keep Chisora at bay. again, I don't know what you guys think.
I think Chisora's gathering a bit of momentum. The Spielka fight, he's naturally not really dealt with southpaws as good as what you've seen with a conventional orthodox fight. I think Price, although you look at him on paper, he's got the more attributes like bigger reach, taller fighter.
Yeah.
Chisora's just going to have to force the pace. He's just going to have to get on the inside early and attack to the body. And I think Price, he'll come forward, and it's going to be one of those fights that ends between the early and the mid rounds. I can't see it going the distance because I think both are going to come forward.
Agreed.
I can't see Price boxing on the outside. I can't see Chisora boxing on the outside. So they're going to come. They're going to lock it in the middle of the ring, and that's going to be who can shit the most punishment.
I personally, I think the most important factor in this fight, I think, is going to be Price's mindset. You know, he's had the losses that he's had. You could see that it's a mindset as opposed to a physical kind of thing. You know, when he lost his 2 fights back to back against Tony Thompson.
Yes.
You know, when you watched him coming in for the second fight, I mean, he looked like he was petrified walking to the ring. Yeah. You know, and there's a couple of other fights that he's kind of, you know, he's looked suspect, because one thing to say about Price, he has got ability and he has got a powerful right hand, you know, and I think if he comes in, he's got natural attributes, you know what I mean, to really cause any heavyweight problems, you know, and sometimes he just hasn't used those attributes for whatever reason, you know, and I think if he comes in with the right mindset, you know, and he comes in with a positive mindset, I think he can cause Chisora a lot of problems, because Chisora's got to try to get to him.
Yeah, I agree.
He's 6'8", 6'9".
Long reach,
you know, he's got a very long reach.
Yeah.
You know, he's got all the favourable attributes in this fight. You know, to be the victor. But I think it's his mindset that's going to either get him the victory or allow Chisora to get on top of him.
Yeah, I think touching on the mindset thing as well, I think it's a more ambitious Chisora we're contender with now, someone that's really going to try and bring the heat. Whereas you look at a Chisora that fought a Fury all those years ago, would we have said Price would have come in with the same? He probably would have been confident. I'm not saying he wouldn't be confident now, but there'll be a bit of kind of skepticism about what Chisora is going to bring. Is he going to be more aggressive? Or is he going to adopt a different approach?
Yeah,
and I do think, and it's going back to what you're saying, Dean. I have to say, when I heard it during the day, so I've been working. I didn't feel it's a walk in the park. I feel again, it's a kind of sink or swim move from Eddie Hearn, in the sense of Price loses, where does he go? And with what I thought they were trying to do with Chisora, I'm thinking, well, clearly that maybe they're not trying to build him up. And from a training perspective, I would say maybe Chisora's got a lot more to change in his approach to the fight than Price, because Price is used to fighting shorter guys anyway. It's not like Chisora's got the biggest skill set, but I think where Chisora now, he's going to have to adopt an approach of fighting a much taller, bigger, probably even skillful guy than Parker, in my opinion. Yeah,
but it's a pay-per-view event. It's made out to be a pay-per-view event. So you look at all the options that they had once Parker fell out, and the one that springs to mind that you'd get the British public actually paying for it is Price, because it's, as we're speaking now, it's an unknown entity. As we're speaking, we're talking about mindsets, we're talking about who comes in. We're not talking about an outright winner. So it's intriguing, you know. So then it sells. What other dance partner could you have with Chisora that would have sold or would have asked the questions that we're asking? You know, So it's a good stroke by Matchroom in terms of getting the right replacement and getting a replacement where it is now a 50-50 fight. Who wins? Who comes out with the best performance? People want to see, is Pricey finished? Is Chisora? Is the second coming of Chisora? You know, so it's a good fight for the public to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, I must admit, I am looking forward to it. I must admit.
Yeah,
I'm very intrigued by it.
Intrigued is the word, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to turn up and how they're going to turn up. So I think it's an interesting one.
Dean, thanks again for calling in, showing all the support as always, and next week make sure you.
Thanks for hearing me out.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Dean.
Cheers. Take care, James.
Take care. We're going last caller 041. We're going to try you again before we give you the last 5 minutes. 041. How you doing?
Sir. How's it going, guys? Good show.
Appreciate. Who's on the line? Your name?
It's William from West London.
Nice to meet you,
Good evening, William.
Question or statement?
I'm both really. My first statement is I deep down in your hearts, man, guys,
Yeah.
do you really rate Price? I mean, deep down in your heart, that you know that you put Price and Chisora in a ring. Chisora is gonna eat Price, man.
Well, I mean,
Price has got
if you
he's got most of the attributes, man, but he doesn't have the heart as a boxer to face Chisora all the way through, man. I saw him live on the undercards in one of our Wales trips. What was it with Anthony Joshua, man? That guy. And anyway, that's my statement, number one. Number two, I like your previous callers. All I want to ask you guys is, right now at this present moment, who is the most famous British boxer in United States? Go out there in the United States right now and take a mic out on the streets. Who would they say? Who is the most famous UK heavyweight boxer out there? Everybody's gonna do you.
Who do you think? Who do you think?
Boy,
pardon?
You understand?
Who?
Everybody's going to be telling you the Gypsy King. The Gypsy King is conquering U.S. Anthony Joshua went out to the U.S. to say we're coming to the U.S. We're going to conquer here and all that kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. Nowadays, box it's not just boxing, but promotion is gone on a different level. Like your previous caller said, right? It's all about the numbers. If you want to you get big, you want the numbers. Tyson is tapping into all sort of different numbers out there, and America is a bigger economy than here, bro. You understand? So you know, before Tyson came out, you know all his gimmicks that he used to do and all that sort of stuff. Now he's got a bigger audience, a bigger stage, and he's a natural at doing that. He's not Joshua, who's being coached or trained to go and do these sort of things, right?
Yeah.
So he's
Right. Let's get the answer in.
So for the second one, in terms of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, if you look at the level of promotion that the two of them have got, Anthony Joshua in America is on an app that not many Americans have got. Tyson Fury is on ESPN, promoted by Top Rank, which is in near enough every major home in the United States. So his profile is easier to be promoted across the United States. He's won his 2 or 3 fights over there. The fight he had with Deontay Wilder, after Anthony Joshua refused to fight Deontay Wilder, put Tyson Fury in front of Anthony Joshua, because he went to America on the back of being out for so long and having one fight. He took the step and was brave enough to go out there and face the hardest puncher in the heavyweight division and got a draw. And from there, he's gone on from strength to strength to strength. Anthony Joshua is on an app, which is, like I said, not in too many homes in America. You have to purchase that app. So the promotion of Anthony Joshua is far less than it is of Tyson Fury. And saying that, Anthony Joshua had his big opportunity to win over the American public, and obviously his first time over there, he lost, and he lost to somebody that wasn't in the top 10. I don't believe he wasn't in the top 10, who I do believe is a good fighter, and I do believe he's going to cause him more problems when they fight again. You know, so with that, I'd agree with you that Tyson Fury is leading the way as the most, recognised British heavyweight in the United States at the moment. And let's see where he goes from there in terms of, they have this Deontay Wilder rematch, which is in jeopardy, obviously, depending on how his eye heals up. But again, that's going to be a massive, massive, massive fight for Tyson Fury, with all eyes on.
One more question, please.
Yep, go ahead.
Go ahead.
One more question.
We've got another caller. But yeah.
What is the reason? Why are they doing another what was it called, Wilder Ortiz? What's the reason for that, man? Who wants to see that?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I know who wants to see that. I mean, it's it's the PBC thing. They've got their fighters, and each promotional company is doing what they can for their fighters. Wilder and Ortiz are with the PBC. I mean, there's not many other heavyweights that at that level Deontay could have fought within the PBC. I think Ortiz is the number one, and I think it's at stopgap between that fight and the Fury fight. And that's if the Fury fight happens. I believe that there's going to be a lot of change in terms of who wins the Joshua Ruiz fight. Everything's going to change after that again, and we'll see. And hopefully next year we can see a round robin of Joshua, the winner of Joshua Ruiz, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, all fighting each other, and we can have an undisputed
one face, one
champion.
One champion. But and if I could just add to that point, because I think Michael makes a great point, but I also think you have to really look at it. Once the Fury said he wasn't going to fight the rematch and he wanted the 2 fights in between. Sorry, bro, there's a bit of background noise on your side. So once he said he's going to have those 2 fights, we all knew Joshua is obviously going in with Ruiz. Who else could Wilder fight realistically? Yeah. I don't think there's anybody, and I think we know it's a ready-made good fight. Yep.
Everybody knows that fight is just going to be uncomfortable to watch. It's all about how much Ortiz can take the punches. Yes. You understand? Yeah. How far can he tire Wilder? And it's just uncomfortable to watch, man.
Yeah, but don't forget, nobody else wanted to fight Ortiz.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody. Dylan White had an opportunity to fight him. He didn't take it. Joshua had an opportunity to fight him. He didn't take it. No one wanted to fight Ortiz for a reason, because he is a handful.
Yeah. So listen, guys, we've got to move to the next caller, last caller before we end the show. So appreciate your call, Will, and we're out. So 644, the floor is yours.
Hello. Kojo, it's Enam. How you doing?
Hey, long time. Right? Yes, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, man. Guys, gotta say, the studio looks amazing.
Thank you, bro.
The setup is phenomenal, man. And wishing you guys all the best of luck. And the format just looks very, very slick. And big shout out to Michael as well in the studio.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to sort of reiterate what William was saying beforehand, regarding the Price Chisora fight. I don't give Price any chance at all. And I think it's what Michael touched on before, is his mental status. He's got the attributes. But when Chisora puts on that war Chisora mindset, it's going to walk through him.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 4 rounds. 3 to 4 rounds, he's going to stop Price.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, again...
And that's just my prediction.
Again, you said it. Again, it's the mindset of Price, because he has got all the attributes. He's got the longer reach. He's got the bigger physical presence. And if he can't use those, then he's going to have a hard time, And his mindset is the thing that's going to allow him to use them. It's a simple, it's simple physics. He's the taller man. He's got the longer reach. If he comes in there with that mindset, he can box Chisora's head off for 12 rounds, or if he thinks that, he's going to get into a bit of a scrap and then he's going to go into his shell, then you're right, it's going to be a short fight for him, But again, he has got the attributes, and it'll be interesting to see, I think we'll see in the walk-in, what mindset.
And I think with Price, yeah, and I mean, again, I'll be honest, I think it is a close fight. I don't think it's a walk in the park for Chisora, because I think Price, if he has the mentality, as I guess we're saying, to focus on using the jab, I think he can make it a long night for Chisora, because then Chisora has to show sort of craft to be able to get inside the jab. And I think another thing people probably haven't said but forgotten, he doesn't actually have a trainer now, because he's not working with Caldwell. This is Chisora.
Yeah,
he's not working with Caldwell anymore. Well, I don't know if that means he's going to go back to Don Charles. So you know what I mean. So that could play its significance into the fight. I think it is not a better fight, but it's still a good fight. But I can see where everyone's coming from. I can see why they're writing Price off. But yeah, I probably would say, look, don't write him off just yet. I think he's feeling more confident. Probably the Price, not the Dave Allen win, gave him a lot of confidence.
I know that was great.
Yeah, but good.
If I could just make one point. Yeah, if I could make one point, right?
Make two.
Price, beat Dave Allen recently, right? He beat Dave Allen, right? And it was a big acclaim when he beat Dave Allen, right? I'm going to say Dave Allen is world contender. You know what I mean? European level top whack, right? Chisora's been there. He's fought at for world titles. The guys went 12 rounds with Vitaly Klitschko. Yeah, is it Vitaly or Vladimir? Which one?
Vladimir.
Which one of the brothers he fought? Yeah. So and Dave Allen Price didn't exactly blow away Dave Allen, who was much smaller than him as well, much smaller.
Yeah.
So I just look at that, right? Look at the caliber of who Chisora's fought, the style of Chisora, right? The Chisora style is just terrible for Price, the way he fights.
A fit Chisora as well.
For me, that's why That's why I think, and Price gasses quite easily.
Yeah.
You know, he loses his stamina easily for 4, 5, 6 rounds. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, when Chisora's going to come on in first, second, third round, fourth round, I think Price is going to be just knackered and it's going to go down. That's my prediction.
You could be right. You could be 100% right because it could go that way, as like what we're saying in terms of, you know, what I mean, Price's mentality. If he doesn't use his attributes, the advantages that he's got, then it's going to be a very short night for him.
Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be a tactical affair. I think Chisora will see that mentality in Price to then just stick it on him and see how he reacts.
Yeah. I've actually spoke to I've got someone to speak to Chisora's camp to see if my son Michael can do some training with him for this fight. You know, I hope he gets the opportunity. We're waiting to find out. You know, because like I said, I mean, some of these young trainers have got, have got a lot to, to bring to the game. You know what I mean, and because he hasn't got a trainer and he wants to train down in London. You know what I mean, we're just waiting to see if we can put that together.
So listen, Eve, and thank you for calling in. Appreciate the support as always, and hopefully for more calls in the future. Take care. Yes, no, that's been a great show. We've run over a little bit, but it's been more than a pleasure. So we've got Michael. We've got Ryan fighting on November the 30th.
Ryan's fighting. Jordan Dujon is also making his third professional appearance on November the 30th. Richard is fighting on December the 14th at Madison Square Garden, and Duke Micah will be fighting in the US on a PBC show sometime in December as well. So, we've got a busy end of the year.
Busy for Streetwise. New logo as well. Gold, bronze, setting your intention.
We've got a new logo. We've just been doing some stuff with the foundation. I've just been to BoxFit today. They've donated again a load of equipment for us. Ken and the boys at BoxFit. Fantastic, really appreciate what they help for the foundation for us in Ghana and for the equipment they give to us. So I got to give them a special mention because they're always willing to help us.
They've got a website, they've got Instagram, right?
BoxFit got a website, they've got Instagram, they've got all that stuff, and they've been really great to us. So really
and before we go, do you want to talk about the video? Obviously, you're doing you got the Streetwise Foundation Ghana. Sent a bit of kit out there.
We sent. I mean, as people know, you know, Ghana, it's created a lot of world champions, but the infrastructure and equipment and stuff is not of the caliber of other countries, and it's a shame really because they've got so much talent out there, you know, and it's very difficult for them to play on a level playing field. So, in terms of, you know, Richard now being a world champion, it gives, and now Richard is the global ambassador for the foundation. It gives us an opportunity to raise the profile and to go around collecting equipments and stuff to send back to Ghana, you know, and help the infrastructure, you know, for Ghana boxing. The amateur boxing squad haven't even got their own gym. So we've located some derelict buildings in Ghana. We're hoping that we can acquire them and build purpose-built gyms for them and just help the cause, you know, because when you look at the likes of Richard and Duke, where they've come from and what they've managed to achieve, you know what I mean, there's an abundance of talent out there. So hopefully the foundation can help nurture that talent.
Big up, no, appreciate. And listen, thank you for coming in today. Do you want to just shout out your social medias?
Mickey Moo at Mickey Moo on Twitter, Instagram at Streetwise MGT, at Streetwise Management on Facebook. Yeah, that's the social media that we do that. And yeah, that's great. Yeah,
perfect.
It's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure coming down here. You get to speak proper boxing, intelligent boxing. The callers that call in are intelligent. They know what they're talking about. They're and
we're not afraid to dive into the little, you know,
controversy.
No, you have to, because it's all part of the sport. You have to. There's no point in sugarcoating stuff or trying to, you know what I mean, skirt around stuff. It is what it is. It's in the sport. You have to speak about it. If you don't speak about it, you can't action it.
Exactly.
You know? So it's great. You guys are doing a fantastic job, and hopefully you get more followers and more callers and more people listening to your show. It's one of the original shows out there that you listen to, and you're talking a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. So guys, you heard the man. Sign up, subscribe, like. It's the best place for boxing in London at the moment. Fans talking boxing. But Tom, we're going to sign out. I was going to say, good week for you. Are you at any shows this weekend?
Not this weekend, I don't think. Prograde Taylor is the next one.
Yes.
So that's going to be a good build to go down to. But yeah, just also MTK, well done on the the show.
Well done, great.
Friday night.
Yeah, really
Another,
good.
Again, something else that's adding to the growth is a new concept.
Yeah.
You know, we've been to shows, the Ultimate Boxer, etc. But this is another.
I think that's a bit more technical because they're not expecting you to get a victory on the night in terms of winning the fight. I think the build up for the MTK is really good.
Yeah.
Kind of liaises back to what you were saying around giving a platform for new fighters. I think what they're doing is a bit of new fighters, but again, some fighters that probably haven't hit the heights with an original promoter, and they're giving them a lease of life. So
and safeguarding their own stable, you know, making sure that they can prosper.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a massive stable, and they're making sure their fighters get fights, and they get a great platform. You know, and it's there for the fighters and the trainers to grasp that opportunity that they're putting out there. So it's great.
Perfect. So, guys, don't forget to watch the shows live moving forward. We will be on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to your search engine, your search box, and do Raps on TV, boxing, but Raps on TV. Instagram is also Raps on TV. The website, www.rapsontv.com, where you see all the best articles written by Tom. But like I said, to all the callers, thank you very much. All the listeners in the past, present, and future, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you, and we're out.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get